and thanks for joining us. I'm Laurel Hess, and this is Comcast Newsmakers. Joining me now is the mayor of the city of Kentwood, Stephen Kepley. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And the city of Kentwood, for folks who are not intimately familiar with the west side of Michigan, is a city a little smaller than the city of Grand Rapids, just on the southeast side of Grand Rapids, correct?
That's correct. We have about 50,000 residents in Kentwood.
And have been growing and really sort of doing maybe even a little better economically and plugging along at a faster clip really than the rest of the state, certainly in the last few years.
That's right. We have one of the lowest unemployment rates in the state at 3.5%. And actually, when you look at the commercial industrial properties, they're about 98% fully occupied.
What would you attribute to Kentwood's success? How are you able to keep those unemployment rates low and crime low and just kind of make it a great place to live?
Well, I really believe it's a community effort. You first of all look at our schools. Our schools are very strong. We have at East Kentwood High School, they have a 92% graduation rate, which I think is excellent. As a city, 20,000 population larger, we have the third lowest millage rate. So we offer a lot of service at a great price point for our taxpaying residents.
The entire state of Michigan is going to go to the polls in not too a distant future to possibly, or not to possibly, but to vote on A or nay for a tax increase for our roads.
Right.
But you like to say you're proud of the fact that the road qualities, your system around Kentwood, in and around that area, is fabulous.
Yeah, we have one of the highest rated road systems in West Michigan, if not the state. And I just had a presentation yesterday, a State of the City, where I talked about Proposal 1. And I encourage people, don't judge our state roads by the way Kentwood roads are. Kentwood's roads are high quality, but for one reason, it's a newer road system. And for 30 years, we've had an asset management plan that has really brought success to our roads. But even we will run out of money, and our roads in 5 to 10 years could look like our neighbors and the rest of the roads here in Michigan. Still,
you'd be a good consultant to the governor, maybe give him some tips on how to keep that road money funded.
Give me a whiteboard and a marker, and I would do just well.
We'll get you guys together.
Okay.
Speaking of funding and sort of planning for the future, you're in the midst right now of at least researching, looking at how to set up a community foundation, an endowment to fund some things going forward as well.
Correct. We were blessed about 40 years ago with one of our residents. She was a granddaughter of one of the first settlers of Paris Township, where Kentwood is. And she made an endowment. It's a private foundation. And that's coming to its end. And one of the last things that the board members of this private foundation wanted to do is to see if we can invest in creating a Kentwood Community Foundation so that we can raise funds and be able to make investment into the entire community of Kentwood long term. And the second thing we're looking at is starting a 501c3, and it's again a way for people to donate to wonderful causes in Kentwood so that again long term we can invest in the kids and the communities so that we can continue on our road to success.
And very quickly, let's talk about diversity for a minute, because oftentimes when people think of West Michigan, you don't first think of diversity, yet
Yes.
Your community extremely diverse.
Anytime you interview someone from Kentwood and why do they love to live in Kentwood, the first thing that they will say is, we love diversity. East Kentwood High School represents 60 different countries and 70 different languages. And so even in my neighborhood, 13 homes, represents people from all parts of the world, whether it be Africa, Vietnam, Mexico. It's just a wonderful way to live in a community that is represented by the whole nation. It's sort of the United Nations of West Michigan.
Kentwood's got the whole package. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Today's Comcast Newsmaker with Stephen Kepley, the mayor of the city of Kentwood.